We are the Big Joe and Laura Show here on Mix 95.7 Grand Rapids Best Mix. You've made it to Monday, April 22nd. Good morning, Laura. How are you?
I'm here. How are you?
I'm doing good, too. You seem like you're a little tired this morning.
I'm a little sleepy. Little guy chose violence. I caught up on a lot of sleep over the weekend because he stayed with the grandparents on Friday and Saturday nights. But then last night, he woke up like 4 times overnight. Said, I've been up since like 3 a.m. So I'm here. We're trucking through. We're going to make it happen.
Did you try telling him, hey, can you go back to bed? Did you try that?
I think I at least whispered it once or twice, like, hey.
Did you say, hey, I'm really tired and I get up really early?
Buddy, like, I know you don't have a job and you don't pay bills, but could you, thanks.
One of the things happened to me this weekend was I had one of the most intense dreams of my life. I still kind of feel weird from what I woke up to. We'll talk about that later on in the show, but there were some like fun parts of the weekend for me. I got to go out to a Muskegon Lumberjacks game, and I'm kind of embarrassed to admit this, but I'm encouraging other people to do it. So we're doing this together. I've never been to a Lumberjacks game, and I've been here forever. I go to Griffin's.
You were going to say something actually embarrassing like that.
Well, I'm just saying.
I've never seen a hockey game before or something like that. But I was like, oh, well, I mean, yeah. Well, I'm sure many people have not seen Muskegon Lumberjacks games. That's okay.
But it was so cool. We went there. We met up with my wife, Lindsay, her friend Liz, and her daughter. And it was such a great time. The cool thing is there's a place called, there's several, but Rad's Dad's Tacos, I think it is. It's right there on Main Street in there. But you actually go into that and you're in the arena.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it's almost like you don't have to buy a ticket. But we did. $12. I've never in my life sat front row. We were front row for the game, and it was a close one. Unfortunately, the Lumberjacks lost, but it's a playoff series, so they'll have a chance to beat Green Bay again. But It was just so cool, and this is the embarrassing part, I guess. I just like, wow, Muskegon's got such a beautiful downtown, like the street and everything. I've been out there back in the day for summer celebration.
Yeah.
But that's an embarrassing part to me. It's like, I told them, like, we got to come back here and actually spend like a good day out doing things.
I love Muskegon. I don't know why people don't spend more time out there, honestly. They've got some really great beaches that are way less crowded than some of the other places because everybody always wants to give Muskegon crap. But like, I love it. They still have the weirdest mall in the entire state. I am obsessed with the mall in Muskegon. I think it's it's wood themed. I don't remember the name of it right now. I did a whole TikTok about it, but like it's full of local stores instead of chain stores.
Oh, that's cool.
So like everything went out of business, but they said, no, our mall's not going anywhere. So there's like a really awesome record store. There's a really awesome comic book store that takes like 2 or 3 stores up, and there's genuinely some really cool stuff. And I'm like, man, if more malls could do this, like I don't need 16 Hot Topics in every store or all the same 5 stores that are in every mall. I kind of like going to a mall that I'm like, none of this is the stuff I'm used to, and I love it.
That is pretty cool. If you know what Laura's talking about, go ahead and give us a call, 616-600-0957, or just DM in the Mix 95.7 app. Curious how your weekend was. Like to hear some of the good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, coming up on the show this morning, again, we've got Qdoba gift cards for Big Joe's Jukebox. We're playing soon. If you want to get in, why not call right now? That we will get you on to play the game.
Yeah.
616-600-0957. We got Laura Can't Lose happening later on. And of course, I'm just bumping it up. I put in some of my money in there. 30 grand in your hand. There's just so much going on.
It's time for Big Joe and Laura's Need to Know News on Mix 95.7.
Former Wolverines head coach Jim Harbaugh, who left the school in January to become the head coach of the LA Chargers, followed through on a promise that he made back in October, which was he'd get a 15-0 tattoo on his shoulder to commemorate the undefeated season.
Can I be real transparently honest here? Probably to a fault that it's going to make people mad. This thing looks like a prison tat. It is so bad. You think if you just won a national championship, you would pay to get the actual logo put on you in a way that didn't look like somebody did it in their basement.
Yeah, I haven't seen a meme of this yet, but if somebody wants to throw a purple bandana like Prison Mike from The Office, I could see it being real.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, so we're only a few weeks away from Tulip Time, and some people are a little nervous that we're going to have another STEM Fest like what happened in 2012 because all of the flowers have already bloomed.
Yeah, I've been walking around, not in Holland, but just even in Grand Rapids, and I'm like, man, these things are vibrant. They look like they're in peak time.
Yeah, should we be having Tulip Time right now? Well, organizers are telling us, be patient, it's going to be okay. They expect the flowers to hold up and be no problem by the time that Tulip Time does get here later in the year. And they already say one patch was eaten by deer, so there is going to be one blank spot. But other than the patch that was eaten by deer, which they can unfortunately not control. Tulip Time will run from May 4th to 12th. You can find more details about it inside your Mix 95.7 app. I'm looking forward to going, flowers or not, because it's going to be baby Justin's first and my first Tulip Time. So I'm really hoping that these flowers just hold out a little bit for us.
And your final need to know news story. Could you imagine trying to travel somewhere to an airport and being told, hey, we can't let you through because of your ID isn't right?
Wait, what?
Yeah, this is happening to people in Kentucky that are getting the real IDs, kind of the updated version of IDs to travel.
He really struggled getting it to process my photo. And she pulled it back out and she's like, how old is this driver's license? And I said, I just got it in October. She's like, it's all washed out. I can't see anything. He made me remove my hat. He had me take my glasses off. He asked me to change my smile and the way I was looking. He couldn't get it to verify. So we had to get a supervisor involved at that point.
Oh, I feel so bad for that lady.
I'm going to be fully honest with you as somebody from Kentucky. It has taken them a very long time and it has been a very botched rollout for the real IDs. Like the reason that nationwide they aren't being mandated is because of Kentucky and Mississippi and like one other state cannot get it together. So when I moved to Michigan and was able to get my real ID with no hiccups, I was pretty amped about it, to be totally honest.
That's Big Joe and Laura's Need to Know News here on Mix 95.7. Well, this is awesome. Another thing to feel guilty about, tipping. Hey, we're Big Joe and Laura here on Mix 95.7. Grand Rapids Best Mixer, I should say, not tipping.
Yeah, how often do you feel pressure to tip even when it's not necessary? Like, we get it. When you go out to a restaurant, someone's bringing you food, obviously, no questions, you tip them in that scenario. But say you go to a smaller place where you're only getting a drink or something else, or sometimes just retail in general will do this to you. You use the little square card reader, they flip the screen around, and you see those three options, 10, 15, 20, or whatever they set them to try to guilt you into tipping. And in some scenarios, obviously, you're going to do it. But in others, do you ever say, no, you didn't earn a tip for that? We want to hear from you at 616-600-0957.
I always believe if you're going to go out to eat, I know prices are going up and up. That's nothing to do with the restaurant. That's not their fault. They can't control that. I feel you should tip at least 20%, really.
Oh, yeah.
At the end of the day, that's minimum if you're going to go out and do something for food-wise. But I think of other things, like I go to physical therapy once a week to get like a sports massage because of my junky, messed up hip. And that's expensive. It's like $80. And I'm like, well, do I leave a tip on that? I do, by the way. I'm going broke, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
But then there's other things I'm like, oh, man. I go to the Van Andel Arena to a concert or to a sporting event, and I'm like, well, I just bought a beer, which was who knows how much.
Way more money than it should be.
I'm supposed to tip on this?
Yeah.
So I don't do that.
See, and this is, I'm going to make you feel a little guilty for this one, and I'm sorry.
I don't feel guilty at all.
Van Andel, I feel bad buying the drink because it's too expensive, but I'm going to buy it because I support my local venues and I want the drink anyway. But did you know most of the time it's like volunteer team things when you don't tip there? So it's like kids you're not giving money to. So they're really manipulative with that tipping. It's not like random employees of Van Andel. It's like, hey, we're the Rockford Softball League and we're trying to raise money with tips. And then you're like, I wasn't going to tip you for pouring a tap, but now I have to because it's for kids and I don't have a choice. I'm going to be really honest with you right now. I always tip. If there's an option to tip, they guilt me into it every single time.
Even if you were like getting a takeout order to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to tip because they prepared the food. I'll give you an example of a time we didn't tip very well when that happened recently. And I got a lot of shade for the person. And now I feel even worse about it. But we were out of town and we went to Waffle House and we got pickup because we were just, swinging through. And anytime we can get Waffle House, we try to get it since we don't have it here in West Michigan.
Of course.
So my husband only tips the carry out order at like 10 or 15%. But they did an amazing job. Like the food was great. They were quick. He picked it up and even complimented the girl when he picked it up. It was like, hey, this is really great. This is some of the best Waffle House I've ever had. Thank you for doing that. And she's like, then why didn't you tip me better?
What, she said that?
Yeah, to his face. And so I was like, oh, no. I mean, you've still prepared the food. You've still brought it to me. Yeah, I'm not sitting at the table eating it there, but I hate it because I can't afford it. I barely can afford to go out and do things 95% of the time. I know every single time. If you offer me at least a minimum of 15, I'm going to give it to you. And I'm going to feel guilty I didn't give you more, even though you may or may not deserve it if you're not doing, a technically walking something to my table type of job.
Are you a guilt tipper like Laura is, or are you just a hardened person like me with no soul who says, no, I will not tip for this service?
No, thank you.
616-600-0957. Or also, too, it's kind of interesting. What is the scenario where they turn it around and said, would you like to tip? You're like, what? Wait a minute. We want to hear those too. 616-600-0957. So we were just talking about guilt tip, whatever you want to call it, where you pay for something, they spin it around, and like, would you like to leave a tip? You're like, for this?
For this?
I mean, like, what?
Yeah, or if you get a service like a massage or your nails where you know there's not a lot of physical costs and they're still like, hey, I know you just paid like $150. Would you like to give us a tip on top of that? No, I could barely afford the $150 massage to start. So we want to hear from you. If you've ever been guilted into tipping, you can give us a call at 616-600-0957 like Heather in Muskegon.
Oh, yeah. So it just seems like every time I go out now, they're flipping around the screen for a tip. And I feel like I am absolutely going to go broke with everybody tipping. I used to caddy, so I know about tips. I used to waitress, and I do agree that there's definitely situations and careers where you have to tip and they live off the tips, but I think businesses have taken advantage of it. And I just feel like it's getting more and more prevalent, and I just don't agree. I just think if you're getting a sandwich at Subway, you don't really need to tip.
No, they should be paying them well enough. Subway makes way more than enough money to pay them well. I agree with you on that one, Heather.
Hey, thank you so much for calling in.
Beth in Muskegon, have you ever been asked to tip in a weird situation, or do you just refuse to at certain times?
Well, the times that I refuse to is when I notice that they've already taken the tip on the bill, and then they don't tell you.
Oh, like that 18% gratuity they'll give you, like if you have a big party, or some restaurants that are really nice just do it anyway?
It's not even that. Some of them, like buffets, I've noticed they've started doing it, where they just will take a tip and they're like, give them your credit card, and they're like, do you want to do a tip? And I'm like, you already took one on the receipt.
Oh, that's not cool. I hate it when they do that, and I also hate it when I've paid a lot for a service that I know doesn't cost a lot and they still ask me to tip.
Yeah.
Like, for example, and you said this earlier with a massage, I appreciate having massage. They're super expensive. Like, the place I like to go, it's like $120 just to walk in the door half the time. And then they're like, you want to tip us? I was like, you had no material cost. Isn't $120 your tip? Like, is that not enough money for me?
You got to touch my body. Pay me.
Yeah, exactly. You should be tipping me at this point.
Oh, Beth.
If it's not enough money, then I think you better be getting paid more, because I'm paying them $120 for a half hour.
Exactly. Beth in Muskegon,
Beth.
have a great day.
Thank you for calling.
Hey, you guys too.
It's time for Big Joe and Laura's Need to Know News on Mix 95.7.
If you were logged on and ready to buy tickets this weekend for the amazing lineup at Frederick Meyer Gardens, unfortunately, you probably ran into a lot of these technical difficulties. According to Frederick Meyer Gardens, there is an extreme surge in demand for tickets, which makes sense. That lineup's amazing. And they say with non-members attempting to access the site, that led to high volumes of traffic.
Wait, so if it was a members-only presale, how do non-members get in?
I don't know. I know that they had an issue with a different thing before. This year it was AXS, but it's like, how hard is it to make this process work? People ended up waiting online, including me and my wife, Lindsay, for 30, 40 minutes. And there was this little guy walking. And then I'm like, this is like me trying to do a 5K. He stopped, walked a little more. Then I was like, okay, he must have to take a break. Yeah, and eventually we got a link, luckily, that said click here or whatever, like just on that same page.
Yeah.
And we were able to get a couple of tickets. But I feel bad for people. Like, it's already hard to get them, but it's like, oh, you've been trying so hard to go see your one show, and technical issues kind of screw you out of it.
Yeah, especially when they sell out so fast. It'd be one thing if it'd be like, oh, you didn't get as good at tickets, but like a third of the shows sold out before they got it fixed. Speaking of record traffic, how about it working in a positive way over the weekend? Taylor Swift is already breaking Spotify records with her new album, The Tortured Poets Department. Just hours after it dropped, it became the most streamed album in a single day, period, ever, of all of the albums.
I believe it. That's going to be tough to beat.
Yeah, it's the first album to have more than 300 million streams in a single day, and she's now the most streamed artist in a single day in Spotify history, and the track Fortnite, which had Posty on it, is the most streamed song in a single day as well. And here's another weird, crazy fact of things she broke. The album sold 1.6 million copies in a single day, which never happens anymore, and 600,000 of those were actually vinyl copies, so maybe that awesome clear vinyl from Target was worth going to grab.
And your final need to know news story story. A teenager, along with her family, drove 6 hours to shop for her plus-size senior prom dress. As a guy that had to always shop in the Husky section, and even now as an adult, I'm going to a wedding this weekend, and I had to go to the Big and Tall store. It's sometimes hard to find something that makes you look good.
Yeah, and feel good.
Well, she got there, tried on a dress she found out that was amazing, and, well, they found out the price. It was $700. But then this happened.
So this dress is $700, but it's free.
What do you mean it's free?
We're giving it to you.
Are you serious?
Oh, that's so sweet. That girl went so far for that person that owned the shop to really like work with her and make sure she got the perfect dress. What an absolute wonderful story.
That is Big Joe and Laura's Need to Know News on Mix 95.7.
We all like to watch movies and wonder what it would be like if we were on the screen. Hey, we're Big Joe and Laura here on Mix 95.7, Grand Rapids Best Mix, and a Grand Rapids native. Paul Walter Hauser just got cast last week to be Chris Farley in the new biopic about him. I'm excited about it because somebody in West Michigan getting a huge opportunity on the big screen, and B, I just think it's really awesome because I think he's going to be a really good fit. Like, he kind of looks like Chris Farley. I think he's got the right charisma. It'll be really cool to see him take on that role.
Who would you want to play you, I guess, if they were to do a film about you, kind of representing you, whether it's, what you really look like or just what would be an awesome person to do it? 616-600-0957. Laura, if somebody's going to play you in a movie about your life, who would you want it to be?
All right, I got 3 people I would cast, depending on who's available, because I like to leave things open. I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket. My first option would be Emma Stone.
Ooh, okay.
Because I really like her, especially like her in the Zombieland era. Like, I really felt like that was the first time I saw someone on screen. I was like, I could be that person. My second one, kind of in the same era of Emma Stone. If you've watched the new Fallout show that came out on Amazon Prime, Lucy McLean, who plays the lead, I think she would also be amazing. She kind of looks like a knockoff Emma Stone, so that might be why I kind of lean towards her. But I really think she's super cool and very funny. And then the third one I would pick, only because I got told I looked like her so much as a child, like nonstop. I was the same age as her when her movie came out in 1996, Matilda. Mara Wilson. Everyone said I looked just like her, and I could see it as adults. So you know what? I feel like she deserves an opportunity to have another acting role. So why not? She can play me if for some reason, someone wanted to make the most boring radio movie of all time.
It could be. Now, somebody just popped into my head, and then I can't think of the other movie, but I know like I, Tonya, she was in it too. But have you ever thought about Margot Robbie? I know she's got all kinds of different looks, but I could see her playing you from Kentucky.
I would be flattered if Margot Robbie were to play me because I think she's just so funny and she's so great. And Barbie? You say I look like Barbie? Is that what you're saying? No.
I'm not backing out of this one.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so who would play you, Big Joe, if you were to pick somebody to be you in a movie?
Well, I feel like, unfortunately, since Paul Walter Hauser has the role now of Chris Farley, I can't say that, but I would say probably Chris Farley would have been cool if he was still around.
Sure.
But I guess a modern day thing, how about Jonah Hill? He's a fun guy. He's got a beard. I just don't have the hair, but
I could see it. You know who else in that same vein, and maybe you're not going to like this answer, and I'm sorry in advance, but I think it's because of the beard. I think Zach Galifianakis would do a really good job at being you.
I didn't even think of that. Yes,
yeah,
I would love to be
Zach. He'd have to shave his head, obviously, but I think he could pull off your beard, and I think both of you are very funny and very, all over the place in a good way that I think he would do a really good job of playing you.
Who would be awesome to have you, play you in a movie? 616-600-0957. Call right now and let us know. 616-600-0957. We're the Big Joe and Laura Show here on Mix 95.7.
Grand Rapids native Paul Walter Hauser has been cast to play Chris Farley in a new biopic, which made us start to debate here in the studio. Who would we want to play us if we were to have a movie made about our lives? And we would love to hear yours at 616-600-0957. Or you can send us a DM inside the Mix 95.7 app like Porta Potty Drew, who said, I feel as if a young Johnny Depp would be awesome playing me in my biopic.
Just going from porta potty to porta potty, doing his thing?
Listen, he's sailing the high seas. Sometimes the high seas is just a whole bunch of porta potties. We appreciate that.
My favorite, the poop deck.
I hadn't even thought of that. All right. And we also got a DM from Steph in Plainwell, and I'm going to read this, Joe, and I need you to not take it personally. I don't think she means it in a mean way.
Oh, well, who is it?
Well, she says, What about Jeff Cohen, who played Chunk in the Goonies for Big Joe? Because I could see him having a great truffle shuffle.
Oh, I could truffle shuffle all day, baby. That doesn't offend me at all.
I would love to see it.
I thought she was going to say, hey, whoever the guy is that plays Uncle Fester. I'm like, you know
Oh,
what?
No,
Not
that's
cool.
Not nice.
It's time to play Laura Can't Lose on Mix 95.7. Here's how it happens. You'll have 1 minute to answer 5 questions. You can pass if you need to, and we'll come back if time allows. A tie goes to Laura because, well, her name's on the show. Here's who's playing Laura Can't Lose today.
Back again after a nice weekend of rest representing Zealand is Daphne.
Good morning, Daphne. How are you?
I'm doing good.
I love how cheery you are, and especially knowing you're probably about to beat me in this game after how Friday went.
You're so sweet.
Daphne, let's get this this game going. Why don't you go ahead and ask Laura to leave the studio?
Please leave.
All right. Only because you're so nice.
Okay, I honestly hope you don't beat Laura because we need to get a winning streak going again, but we'll see how it goes. She's left the room. Let's get into question 1. What country is known as the land of the rising sun?
Pass.
Question 2, what is the name of the reality TV show where people bid on abandoned storage units in the hopes of finding valuable items inside?
Storage Wars.
Question 3, who legally adopted a symbol to replace his name in 1993?
The artist formerly known as Prince.
Question 4, what U.S. president was born in Michigan?
Pass.
Question 5, what 2 pins are left standing in bowling's hardest split to pick up?
Pass.
Question 1 again, which country is known as the land of the rising sun?
I'm going to guess Asia.
Question number 4, which U.S. president was born in Michigan?
Gerald R. Ford.
Question 5, what 2 pins are left standing in bowling's hardest split to pick up?
I'm going to guess the 1 and 9.
Okay, I'm going to bring Laura back in. So, Daphne, we were talking to you last week, and you were talking about how you're a bus driver out in Zealand, but do you also work at the school as like a custodian?
Yes.
How's that?
That's awesome.
It's exhausting. I work all day on Saturday, and I average about 11 miles.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Thank you for all you do to keep those kiddos safe and clean across the board. We really appreciate you.
Laura, you are not going to appreciate this.
Oh, no.
No, actually, Daphne has given you a chance to beat her today. She got 4 out of 5 right. So 4 ties, 5, you can beat her.
I know how good Daphne is, though, so that doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to get them all right. Let's go.
Question 1, which country is known as the land of the rising sun?
What country? China?
And you both got that wrong. It's Japan.
Oh, dang, I was close at least.
Yeah.
Right side of the world.
All right, she said Asia. Yeah, you were in the same area, I guess. Better than like Venezuela.
Yeah, no kidding.
Question 2, what is the name of the reality TV show where people bid on abandoned storage units hoping to find valuable items inside?
Storage Wars.
Yes, I love that show, and you are both on the board 1-1. Question 3, who legally adopted a symbol to replace his name in 1993?
The artist formerly known as Prince.
That works. I would have even taken Prince if you and Daphne wouldn't have shortened it up a bit. Okay, 2-2 going into our 4th question. Which U.S. president was born in Michigan?
Gerald R. Ford.
Hard to say, but
Can't
correct.
say it, but yes.
All right, Laura, the score now is 3-3. Going into question number 5. What 2 pins are left standing in bowling's hardest split to pick up?
The 7 and the 10.
That is correct. Laura, you win today's game with a score of 4-3.
I'm so sorry, Daphne.
All right, Daphne, you lost, so you know what you got to do now.
I'm Daphne from Zealand, and Laura can't lose.
Oh, I hear the pain in her voice, Joe.
It's all right. Cry it out. Hey, if you want to be like Daphne and have a shot at taking on Laura, the jackpot's now went up to $35. All you got to do is call us, 616-600-0957. It is the Big Joe and Laura show here on Mix 95.7, Grand Rapids Best Mix. And I had a dream somewhere between Saturday night and Sunday morning that when I woke up, I was in a panic. I was sad, like depressed. I was anxious. I was angry. And it just seems so real. I'm wondering if you've had ever like a dream that felt so real. It could be great. It doesn't have to be like what I had happen. 616-600-0957. I'd love for you to share that. And maybe you know why things are happening. Now, as far as my dream, Laura, I had a dream that I got fired from this show. You did not. Laura, you were still here.
Oh, no, I don't want that.
Yeah, nobody does. No, I'm just kidding. But I didn't mean it like that. I mean, you don't get stuck. That sounded... I got to work on what I'm going to say in the future. No, but I had this dream, and Laura, I woke up, and it felt like just so real that I got let go. And the hard thing was that there were people, and I don't want to say their names on the air, but these are people that I deal with in my everyday life, in radio, and even in other radio people in Grand Rapids. And I'm talking to them, and nobody will tell me anything. It's like I'm on the outside. Even you're like, I'm like, well, Laura, did they fire you? Or you're like, no. I'm like, are you still on the show? You're like, I can't talk about it. I'm like, what? We've been doing a show for years, Laura. What do you mean you can't talk about it?
You should have known from the start that when you asked me to spill the tea and I didn't do it, that it was clearly a dream, because I have never once kept a secret in my entire life.
You wouldn't keep that secret?
No, you know I would instantly squeal and I'd be like, if you told the bosses, I'm going to beat you. But no, I would totally tell you in real life.
This dream or nightmare, though, like, I woke up and I was in a panic and I was checking my phone. I really thought like I got let go. And I didn't even, like, the reason why I got let go is I think we read like a listener's comment on there that didn't swear or anything. But I'm like, what? How are they letting me go for this? Somebody complained and I got let go.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I mean, and that's honestly, I know a lot of people don't have careers like ours, but that's one of the things that like always is lingering in the back of your head for radio, because with a lot of jobs, like when you get fired, you're like, oh, yeah, no, I knew that was coming, or I could have expected that. But with radio, sometimes they just come through and just take an axe to everybody for seemingly no reason that is anything you've done personally. It's just you're kind of the collateral damage of the cuts.
And I just had all those feelings. I remember I lost my job when the pandemic began in radio, and I felt the stress. I'm like, oh my God, we're going to lose our house. Like all these things, it triggered a memory. Like it ran through the entire cycle, because I remember thought my life was over when I lost my job. Like, what are we going to do?
Thankfully, it wasn't real. So, I mean, we want to know, is there a dream you've had, or a reoccurring dream that you've had that maybe has kind of stuck with you or made you feel real funky afterwards? Maybe your spouse cheated on you, which I know is a common one that people hold grudges about when it happens. We would love to hear from you. 616-600-0957, or you can send us a DM right now inside the Mix 95.7 app.
Mix 95.7, Grand Rapids Best Mix. Hey, it's Big Joe and Laura, and I had I'm going to call it a nightmare now. It was a dream, but it seems so real and so vivid that I woke up and I was crying and I was in a bad mood all weekend that I lost my job. Laura, don't worry, you were still here, but I got let go, and it seemed so real. And then none of my radio friends would talk to me as if like I was an outcast.
I mean, listen, other than maybe everyone not talking to you anymore, I promise I'd probably get fired with you. So I don't think you should ever believe a dream where I get to stay and you are going. But I do appreciate that your brain at least saved my job. But we want to know about a time you had a dream that was really vivid or really alarming to you, and you just couldn't shake it all day. You can give us a call at 616-600-0957.
Jeff in Grand Rapids, what was a dream you had? It felt so real.
It was ridiculous. My grandmother died unexpectedly when I was 13.
Aww.
And I think that's partly why I had this recurring dream. I would dream that I would see her at random places in the city, and I would call out her name and she wouldn't reply, and she would act like she didn't know who I was. But like I knew it was her. You know, it was so disturbing.
That's upsetting when you're younger too, because it's like you already have those conflicting feelings about losing someone in your life, and then to be like, oh, now they're ignoring you too. Like the psychological parts of that are just so awful.
Right, exactly. I would wake up crying sometimes from it. Now, this was a long time ago, and I don't do that anymore, but
sure.
It was truly disturbing when I would have those dreams. I would be like, God, that was real.
That's what I'm saying. Like the dream that I had about losing my job and all the other details that happened with it, it was as if it really happened. I've been through it before, and the whole day I felt sick to my stomach. I felt angry. I felt sad. I wanted to cry. It was as if it really happened.
Okay, I have a one question about it though, Jeff. I mean, I don't know what you believe in your views and all that. Do you think in any way it was a sign of her trying to communicate with you or anything?
Well, no. No, I believe that absent with the body, present with the Lord.
Yeah.
So she wouldn't want to come back to deal with this nonsense, you know.
Yeah, she was trying to get away from Jeff from a long time.
No, stop. Danielle and Zealand, what kind of crazy dream did you have that felt really real?
I had a recurring dream as an adult that all through high school, one year, I could not find my history class. Couldn't figure out how to get there, couldn't remember where it was, and that I had graduated on like a clerical error.
Oh, no.
Did you struggle with history in school, or like, why do you think you had that dream?
No, history is actually my favorite subject.
Oh, no.
And I graduated in the top of my class.
Maybe it's
so
just
it
all
made
the
no
pressure.
sense.
Maybe it was all the pressure that you were under. You know what I mean? Like just to do well.
I don't know, because it was as an adult, like my late 20s is when I started having the dream.
So you were like at least a decade out of school, basically, by the time you start having this dream.
Yes, it was so weird.
I have that same kind of a dream, just in general, that I didn't graduate from high school. But the fact is, I almost didn't graduate from high school.
So it was just more of like reliving the reality of the situation for you, Joe.
Yes. If you have something that was kind of almost too real to be, then we'd love to hear from you. 616-600-0957. I'm glad to know, Laura, that I'm not the only person that have had like dreams in the past that felt so vivid and so real that they emotionally affected you. Whether you cried, you got angry, whatever it might be. We're Big Joe and Laura here on Mix 95.7, Grand Rapids Best Mix. And I had a dream that I got let go. Nobody in radio would talk to me, not even Laura. And you got to keep your job. I was out in the streets.
Yeah, that seems like that would never be the case. I think it would definitely be the other way around, and that's totally fine. That's how you know it's a dream. But we would love to hear from you. When did this happen to you? When did you have a dream you just couldn't shake? 616-600-0957. Erica and Allendale, what kind of dream did you have that you couldn't shake?
Years ago, a lot of years ago, I had a dream that I was walking into a building. It was like a hospital, and there were 3 men standing outside, and I had to go in through this door in the middle of a brick wall, and I got to the top of the stairs, and the guys at the bottom of the stairs shot me, and I woke up. I could feel like the hits, and then I woke up, and now I just pretty much avoid any door that looks like it's in the side of a brick wall with nothing else around it.
Was it reoccurring, or was it like a one-time thing?
That was a one-time dream, thankfully. I've never had that one again since, and I don't really want to. But yeah, every time I go to a new building, I'm looking around, because if there's people standing there, I'll find a different way to go in, or I just avoid doors that are in brick walls.
Did
like
you
that.
recognize any of the people that, like the guy that shot you?
I didn't know who they were, but I could see their faces.
Oh, that's so wild.
Yeah, and that was really kind of creepy, too, that I could see their faces.
Yeah,
So,
no.
yeah.
Generally, your brain doesn't like get those kind of details necessarily. Like you see it in the dream, but
Right.
your brain doesn't really comprehend what you've seen. But like I'd be just like you. Never again am I walking through a brick wall door in my life. So help me God. I don't
Yeah.
blame you, Erica.
Yeah, I'm careful now with what I'm doing, though, when I walk into new places.
No
Erica,
kidding.
thank you for sharing that story.
Oh, you're welcome.
Good morning, Mix 95.7. Who's this?
Angie from Wyoming.
Hey, Angie. What dream did you have that you couldn't shake?
I was in college, and I was going for an accounting degree that I transferred from like a community college to a bigger school.
Yeah.
And I found out like late in the game that I was missing like a few credits, so I had to take some last minute online courses over the summer.
Oh no.
And I had this horrible nightmare where I like completely forgot about one of the classes and therefore like didn't actually get my degree. But so like every now and then it kind of creeps up on me and I'm like, did I actually do that?
Did I really graduate, or is that just a dream?
Exactly. But I like triple checked like everything. I was like, yes, I did all of these things. And I stayed extra on top of those online classes.
Yeah, no kidding.
I feel like if you go check your student loan debt, you'll know if it was real or not.
True that.